Welcome to the Fire and Earth podcast with your hosts, Jason Mefford and Kathy Gruber. Fire and Earth, giving you the keys to unlock your limitless potential.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Fire and Earth podcast. I'm excited for this one, and I'm your co-host, Kathy Gruber.
And I'm Jason Mefford. And all the way from Germany, Deutschland, we have Heike Adam, right? So again, I'm a little rusty on my German, but herzlichen willkommen zur Feuer und Erd podcast.
Yes.
Did I do that right?
Yes, very good. Perfect. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
We're so excited to have you. My cat has made several appearances on the show, very accidentally. And Jason, why don't you give a little bit of background about how this all came about?
Yeah, so Heike and I are in some common groups together, and she's just a person that I want to know more about for one thing, and we'll let her kind of get in and explain a little bit about who she is and what she does, because to me it's just fascinating and I want to learn more. So, you're obviously probably watching the video if you're watching this, and you can see there's a bunch of squirrels on the back of her wall there. So Heike, why don't you just introduce yourself a little bit? Tell people what you do, because like I said, I've got lots of questions. I'm sure Kathy does too, because what you're doing, I think, is amazing. And it's something that most of us have no idea that there's people like you with your gifts.
Mm-hmm. Yes, right. Yes. So I'm an animal communicator. And I'm also a squirrel lover, as you see behind. So my passion are squirrels, and I have them in the garden and in a large tree outside, and I feed them, and I have really much knowledge about them, and love wild animals as well. And so I became this an animal communicator, which I found out, that something like that is existing, and I'm doing this nearly for 3 years. I started some classes to do it, and I'm talking with animals, with pets, and also with wild animals, with squirrels, with birds, foxes, bats.
Wow.
With spiders as well. I have a lot of spiders showing up and I talk with them. So this is what I'm doing.
Well, and I think it's fascinating, because there was the movie, I don't know if it made it to Germany, but Dr. Dolittle,
Mm-hmm.
the whole idea around that story, and it seems like, well, that doesn't really happen. That's just a movie.
Mm-hmm.
But it does really happen.
Mm-hmm.
And what's funny is, after we started talking, especially one of the houses that I lived in, we had a lot of squirrels, and I used to love to just sit and watch them. I'd put food out for them. They're amazing creatures. And where I live now, we don't really get squirrels. We're close to a park, but we don't have squirrels. We'll have raccoons or possums, a bunch of birds and other stuff that sometimes walk along the fence line. But a couple of weeks ago, there was a squirrel that went along the fence and kind of stopped.
Wow.
And in fact, the day before yesterday, I think it was, another one came and sat there and looked at me.
Okay.
So probably not a coincidence for a lot of reasons that we know.
Yes.
But how did you kind of find out about this gift? How did this come to you, and how do you communicate with them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I found out via a colleague. She told me about an animal communicator in Germany, a woman who's doing that. And I was not so interested in that at that time. So I was thinking, oh, that's nice. I'm talking with cats and dogs. But I was following her then on Facebook. And after some time, she posted in her blog about that she energetically connects with wild animals to avoid that the wild animals like deers run into her car when she's driving around. And then I started to be interested because I love, as I said, the wild animals and the squirrels. And then I was thinking, wow, I could talk with squirrels as well with this animal communication. And though I contacted her and asked, she provided classes, and she was not so positive about it. She said, yes, you can talk with wild animals, but usually wild animals do not want to talk with people, with humans. But I didn't let this stop me, because I was thinking she doesn't know me and my passion for squirrels. And I enrolled in her basic course. And then she was also excited that I'm so gifted with animals and also with wild animals. And then I took another class from her. So she's providing also a 1-year program, education program to become a professional animal communicator. And I was taking this as well, and just practicing and training and doing a lot with pets for sure as well, and also with wild animals, with squirrels. And yeah, and I found out while I was doing that I'm an animal empath. So I loved animals since childhood, and I had a coach who told me, you are an animal empath, and I didn't see it by myself. I was blown away, and all other people told me, yes, for sure, we have seen that, but I didn't recognize this. And then I just practiced, and this developed the skill over and over, and I was getting better. And it didn't happen over time, though. I needed to work on it, to practice it, and I need to trust me, though it was also something I didn't trust me in the beginning. I just needed to practice, to train, and and how it's working is that it's really working over a distance. So it's called via telepathy, which is also called a feeling over a distance. Like I also call it intuitive communication. It's from the intuition and from the heart, like a heart-to-heart communication.
Yeah. Oh, this is so great. I love what you just said about, so you clearly had an intuitive gift. You had that, you had it. And you also had to train and practice. And I think that's such a great reminder. There's so many people out there that you think you just get boing and you magically have this thing. You still have to work at it. You still have to train. You still have to practice. You still have to study. And I think that's a great reminder. And just like you, I have a really great intuitive connection with animals. Alistair and I have massive communications just in our head. If I'm thinking to have him come upstairs, he comes upstairs. It blows my boyfriend's mind every time. So people who would come to you, maybe they say hey, we have a pet that we need to talk with. What is the main purpose people would seek you out? Is it for health reasons? Is it just to get to know their pet better? What would be the main purpose people find you for?
No, usually it's more a behavioral issue and problem they have. Sometimes also with health issues, but often it's a behavioral issue, that the dog is barking a lot, or does not like foreign people, or does not like the groomer, or also had a horse who didn't like the groomer and you could not ride on the horse. It's more like these behavioral problems when people come to me for that.
Well, and so I wanted to, again, I want to learn, is you see things like the movie Dr. Dolittle, right? And all of a sudden, the mouth of the horse is starting to talk, kind of thing, like Mr. Ed. Well, that's not how it comes through, right? It's not like you're hearing with your ears. but we're connected and communicating kind of through spirit, through consciousness, whatever word that you want to kind of use, right? And again, we all have that sometimes, even with humans that we're communicating with, right? They're not using words, but we feel it, we kind of know what's going on. It sounds like that's kind of how you're communicating, right? Is that way?
Yes, it's that way. It's like an inner knowing. I hear in my somehow in my heart or inside, I just hear like words or feelings. I just know what the animal is saying to me, and I translate it back into our language. Then I write it down, but it's just like an inner knowing feeling, and which I get. It's not something which is speaking out loud or something like that. It's in the mind and in the heart, working like that.
Well,
ahead,
so
Jason.
I was going to say, so I would guess too, because again, it's I've been trying to speak to the animals more myself, right? Because I've got little hummingbirds and stuff that come in, and it's not necessarily to carry on a conversation with them, but especially because animal medicine, right, in general is kind of, what are you trying to give me? What is the message I'm supposed to receive? I've got hummingbirds that come a lot. In fact, for about the last week, I'm pretty sure it's the same exact hummingbird, because it's the same markings, but he will come and sit on my birds of paradise, and he'll just sit there. And normally you don't see hummingbirds sit, but he'll just sit there and he'll kind of look at me, and he'll fly up, come back down, and land in the same place. And he'll fly up and he'll come down and he'll land in the same place. And another hummingbird will come over to the feeder, and sometimes he'll push them away. Right. And at first I was thinking, well, is that because you're territorial? And it's like, come on, dude, there's plenty of syrup. Let the other ones have a drink too, right? But just the last week or so, I've wondered, maybe that's not what he's doing. Maybe he is here communicating with me some way, protecting me, doing something for me that I don't consciously realize, and that's maybe why he's doing it instead. Because why else would this bird just hang out with me when I go out on my back porch, right? There's a reason. I'm sure it's the same way, like, because I've seen pictures of you out in the forest with squirrels, and I'm sure that they just kind of hang out with you for a while, right? And there's a reason behind that.
Yes, right. There's always a reason behind that. Yes. For me, it's also that they are my spirit animals, my guides. The spirits always show up when I'm traveling to some other places. The spirits show up, or when I'm sick, they show up and help me and heal me. So they're always showing up and helping me.
That's so great. I think we so often overlook the intuitive nature of animals. And same thing with Alistair. He showed up for the first time when I was sick. He just showed up at my door, and a friend of mine stopped by to bring me soup and said, "Is this your cat?" And I went, "No." And he walked in the door and sat with me while I was sick. And then every time I would throw a tarot card, every time I would start to meditate or do some sort of like moon ritual or something, he would show up. And it's like, clearly we had this very strong connection. Even though he was the neighborhood wanderer cat, he picked us. He's with us now 99% of the time. For people who are listening and going, "This is silly, this can't work, this is stupid," I have a story. So my very first cat here in California, my very first cat ever, his name was Uther, Lord of Pendragon, because of course it was. And he ended up with cancer in his paw. Huge growth, very fast moving. And because of the nature of cats, you can't just take off a paw. We had to take off the entire leg. And by this point, he was like 16 or 17 years old. I was so torn. I didn't know what to do. And a client of mine said, "Well, I know this animal psychic. She talks to your cat from a distance. And I'm a believer in this stuff. And even I went, really? Okay. So I told her where the cat was located. She calls me back about an hour later and says, okay, I spoke with Uther, which you got to admit sounds a little crazy, right? I spoke with Uther. And I said, okay, what did he say? And the first thing she did was tell me about Uther, tell me about some of his behavior, some of his habits, some of his interactions with me that she could not have known unless she spoke to the cat. I mean, like, I'm being really serious. The way he lays, the way he puts his hand on my journal, the way he's, I mean, like things that unless you're watching me, you wouldn't know. And then she said, you know, he said he's totally up for the surgery. He has a lot of life in him. If you have the money to do it, he would like to stay with you. He's not ready to go. Oh, it just broke my heart. And we went ahead with the surgery. He recovered so quickly. We got another 2 or 3 years with him. It was the most amazing thing. And I got to say, even if it was complete BS, it gave us such a sense of peace and comfort. And everything she said actually ended up being true. So for people who don't believe this is possible, believe, I mean, expand your belief system and start to embrace those things that are the unknown. So that was just, I wanted to just sort of validate what we're talking about here by sharing that. And I'm sure you've had experiences like that as well. If there's any like things like that that you want to share of some experiences you've had with animals, I would love to hear those.
Yes. It's often when I talk with animals and have this clients showing up, then the behavior of the animals change then afterwards, and the clients are really impressed. Or something like was a dog who was afraid of the dishwasher, and when it was running, and I talked with the dog and explained how a dishwasher works and how good it is for good help for people, and that he doesn't need to be afraid of it. And then after I talked with him, he was sleeping next to the dishwasher when it was running, and this client was texting me and telling me, what did you do with my dog? And at the beginning I was thinking, oh wow, what did I do? What happened? And then she said, he's sleeping next to the dishwasher. So it was really amazing.
Wow.
And she also,
because these things happen. I mean, it was not a month or two ago. One of our sons and his girlfriend, they just got a dog. You know, a lot of people got dogs during the whole lock-in. And it's obvious that this dog has had some trauma. It was a rescue dog from the pound. Obviously has some trauma from before, very skittish, very scared of everything, sort of thing. And I remember saying to myself, we need a good doggy hypnotist or something, right, to knock this out. But that's kind of effectively what you're doing, is being able to communicate with the animals in a way that their owners maybe haven't learned how to do it. Because the one thing that I got from you, I was coming into this expecting, oh, you just have to have this gift. You either have it or you don't. But it's something that you can learn as well too, right? But you're just helping the owners, helping the pets, helping the wild animals, because you can do that. And like that, you can let them know, look, the dishwasher, there's nothing to be afraid of. This is what it does. Oh, okay. All right. Well, I don't have to worry about that, right? I mean, it seems like, again, that's kind of what you're doing, and being able to take the place of what the owner probably wants to communicate to them, but doesn't have that energetic connection to be able to communicate soul to soul, right?
Right, yes. And I always say that everybody can learn it, that we have this, everybody has this gift and this ability, just we forgot about it when we are growing up, and but everybody has this gift and has this ability, just need to be retrained and relearned. But everybody can really learn it. So it's not that just some people can learn it. So it's really good to know.
Yeah, that's so great. Is this something, this might sound like a silly question, is this something that you can turn on and off, or are you always on? Like, are you just out sometimes and all of a sudden the dog is talking to you and you're like, where'd that come from? I mean, does that just come into you at all times?
No, usually not. I really need to turn into it. It's not that it's coming or in all the times, and I really need to be in a special state, like in a more relaxed state, that it's really coming to me. And it's often also easier when I do it at home. I do it with a photo usually, which is easier because I can prepare myself. I dance before, I relax, and then I talk with the animal, which is easier than being outside. Also, when I'm outside with wild animals, it doesn't work all the time. Sometimes I get something back, but not all the time. So it's easier to do it really with a photo.
Yeah, in a more structured environment. Yeah. Oh, that's fascinating. Cool.
Yes.
Well, but again, you have to prepare yourself, right? Because again, it's as we said, we're not hearing it through our ears. And so getting into that relaxed state, doing some of the dance, whatever you're going from 3D ego into the more intuitive part of you, because it's the intuitive part of us that is able to communicate with the other things. Right.
With the heart. So I need to move from the brain into the heart, and then I prepare. Yes, like dancing moves me into this, into the heart, and also relaxation, like breathing, and then it's there are different brain waves. It's the alpha brain wave and also frequency I'm then in, which is more this relaxation state, and the animals are also in this frequency, usually in this alpha frequency. And I also often say it's like a radio frequency. You turn your radio into a specific frequency, and this is what I do with the animals as well. And I need to prepare for it. Yes.
Yeah, so it's interesting that you say that, right? Because I mean, I'm familiar with brain waves, and what's interesting is, at least what I've been taught, is that nature in general, the frequency is 7.83 hertz, right? Of nature, of the earth, right? That's the alpha theta state, right? So like you said, you're doing things to effectively slow down your brain waves to where you're in that state. And when you tune to that same hertz level that nature is around you, now we connect with the nature, right? And that's why some of these things that you talk about, meditation, the dancing, some of these other things are all different tools or practices that all of us can use,
right? Yes.
To try to help us connect more with nature as well.
Yes, right. There are some other techniques as well. It's the shamanic drumming or drums. They also vibrate on this earth frequency as well. This is also something you can use to go into this state. So some techniques you can use.
Oh, that's great. Do you have just maybe one tip for someone at home that's sitting there with their dog, their cat, their pot-bellied pig, their guinea pig, their hamster? I mean, do you have just one tip that maybe someone can do just to connect more with their pet, to connect more with their animals at home?
Yes, I would say just, as I said, go more into this relaxation state, and then just start practicing and talking with the animal and see what returns to you. But just go via breathing or music into this relaxation, and then talk with the animal and just be open what's coming from the animal, because often we do not trust then what is coming back, and just trust it, and just practice and practice and practice.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
wouldn't be my tip.
yeah, and I wanted to ask you another question on that too, because I know, I looked at your website, because you have a website where people can reach out to you that we'll make sure and give to people. But, especially when you're working with pets, I know, again, my German's a little rusty, but I think I got the gist of it, is that you need a picture that shows their eyes.
Yes. Right.
And so I wanted to ask you a little bit about that, because I've always been told too, that the eyes are the seat of your soul, that through the eyes, we really can see into the other individual. And I'm guessing this works with animals too. What is it about seeing into the eyes that way? Because again, I'm kind of thinking like this skittish dog, in our family, it won't want to look at me. And so like I'm trying to get it to where I'm looking into its eyes, right? And I think again, maybe it's like, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you. And I'm like, no, I want to talk to you, kind of thing. What is it about that, or how does that kind of fit into a lot of this too?
Yes, it's really what you said, like connecting with the soul via the eyes, then to deeply connect with the soul via the eyes, and to the soul, to the heart, and that is why I needed to see the eyes. Otherwise, it would work, but not so good when I really connect really deeply with the eyes. It's deeply to the heart, to the soul. I can connect them via the eyes.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And of course, we're nearing the end of our time, because this is what we do. This has been I love this. I'm looking over at Alistair, who's just sort of like, so we'll have a chat later about that.
He's like, y'all are talking about me. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, it's interesting. He actually, when he wants attention, he will bite. Like he'll nip at your ankles. And I've tried to explain to him, I'm like, please, we want to give you attention. We want to have your needs met. Could you please stop biting? He just, well, that's just what he started doing. And so it's like, I'll have to do some meditation and get into that state and explain to him that that's not the way to communicate with us. And could he do something else? And, so that'll be my homework. That'll be my homework. Get the cat to stop biting.
Yes. And I often say that the animals understand us, what we are saying via the frequency and the vibration. Again, it's not maybe the words they understand, but they read the energy. They understand what we are saying.
Yeah. So yelling at your dog doesn't communicate to them.
No, it's not the best idea. No.
Right. So it's more about us getting aligned and trying to align with them to really be able to communicate, not the way that we're communicating. Because just like if they're barking at us, we don't know what they're saying from the bark.
Yes.
Right. So why would we expect them to know what we're saying when we're
Yes,
yelling at them?
Yes.
Yeah. Good point.
Interesting. Well, in so many different, well, and I wanted to kind of ask too, because I know we're kind of running out of time, but this is true for all animals as well, right? Because again, as I've been connecting more with nature, there's certain animals that we don't consider animals, or we don't want around, right? And I remember there were a couple of flies that were flying around me, and normally we're like, get away, get away, get away, get away, right? And then I thought, how are they any different than any other animal, right? And maybe they're here for a purpose that I don't quite understand. And so if I let them land on me and just do what they need to do, I guess that's where I was going. It's not just the cute squirrels and the cute cats and the dogs. It's like even the cockroaches and the ants and the rats and the everything. We're all connected, and there's a reason for all of this stuff, I think, right?
For sure, yes. And this is also what I realized with doing animal communication, that I have this appreciation for animals, for every animal, and like the spiders and rats and flies,
Mm.
and I would not be able to kill them like the spiders or something like that. I talk to them and then I bring them outside and show them a nice. When I talk with them with animal communication, I show them a green grass, and that they have many insects outside, and then they jump into a glass or a pot I have, and then I bring them outside. So it's working really great.
That's awesome. We relocate our spiders as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
I said, yeah. I love this conversation. So, Heike, how can people reach you? What is your website? How can they get a hold of you if they want to learn to do this, talk to you more, or have you do a session and talk to their animal?
Yes, I have an Instagram handle. It's a German name, Eichhörnchen blog. I can, explain it, or you will show it later.
Yes.
We'll get it to put it in the show notes.
Yeah. And also my homepage is also just my last name, Heike Adam .de is my homepage. And it's also in English, so I have many clients in English from US, Canada, from all over the world. So
it was just kind of fun for me to try to practice my German again by reading.
So. That's great.
Je parle français, so.
Perfect.
This has been great. Oh, Heike, thank you so much for being here. I'm so inspired to actually reconnect with the animals. I did it a little bit, and then it just sort of fell off, as so many things do. So you've inspired me to get back in that state and talk to the animals. So I'm very excited, and I hope people got a lot out of this. It's something that you can explore, something that is real. So thanks everyone for listening. Reach out to Heike, learn more. I'm Kathy Groover. I can be reached at kathygroover.com.
And I'm Jason Mefford. I can be reached at jasonmefford.com. So just take a pause this week. Do something a little different. Look at the nature that's around you and just try to connect more with it, because we're all connected anyway, right? And so with that, have a great rest of your week, everybody, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the Fire and Earth Podcast. See ya.
See ya.